asset? Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. Every day on the channel, we teach you how to make money with digital assets. I'm your host, DZ, and smash that like on the way in because we have a very big show today. We got to talk about ETH potentially hitting $16,000 based off some Bitcoin ratios that are very, very, very telling. We're going to have the camera adjust in 3, 2, 1, up. Oh. All right, we're trying to hide as much as my forehead as we can, everybody, in case you were wondering there. Also, we got some major stories with XRP. Ripple just did a major acquisition. What does this mean for XRP? Also, we got to talk about the India tariffs. But most importantly, we got to talk about the crypto classification, diversification for 401ks. That is right. 401ks, trillions of dollars of retirement accounts are now going to be able to have exposure to Bitcoin, crypto assets, all types of assets, including real estate. And we're going to get into all that, everybody. Now, looking at the 4-hour chart on Bitcoin, Bitcoin is pumping exactly as predicted. We were talking about the RSI and the strength of the RSI yesterday and said, I would not be fading this pump that we're seeing right now. Essentially, the RSI near the bottom of this, so we're going back 6 hours, 24 hours ago, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to see a lot of strength in the RSI. So even though the price was relatively same, we were seeing strength in the relative strength index there. And now Bitcoin is having a nice little pump. Started at 6 a.m., if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. It was top of the hour. We had a nice little pump at 1 a.m. on the dot. And then we had a nice little pump at 5:30 a.m. But really, it kicked off right there at 6 a.m. You can see the 6 a.m. candle. And then Bitcoin just went on a little bit of a tear. But now we are starting to lose a little bit of this RSI on the smaller time frames. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a pullback and maybe potentially we'll come back down and retest this trend line yet again. And this trend line is dating back all the way to December of last year. And we're going to look at other markets as well. But TJ, how are you doing? You just put down your cameraman. You put down your best boy grip outfit. Now you're back in producer role.
Yeah, now I'm back in the other seat. Yeah. I'm doing good. I'm feeling good. Loving to see the pumps. Loving, every time everything's green, obviously that feels good. It's one of those wake up, check the charts. Oh, it's going to be a good day kind of thing. But yeah, shout out to all of our members. I'm pumped for the news about the 401k stuff. I think that's an easy win, kind of like the title implies for a lot of the blue chips, XRP, Ethereum, Solana. A lot of those top 5, top 10, Cardano.
TJ, I got something for the people on the 401k news. We're going to look at Reddit's reaction.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah. But any first thoughts on what Reddit's reaction is?
Well, it's not going to be kind. Reddit seems to be full of angry people all the time. So I don't ever see, unless it's a cat video, there's really no positive reactions on Reddit as far as I can tell. But no, feeling good. Hit the like button, subscribe if you don't already. It's definitely money-making season. This is more confirmation to me that the 4-year cycle is dead, that we're going to continue to pump into 2026, that we're going to see all-time highs. Q4 is going to get stupid and silly, and I think it's going to continue into 2026. So yeah, feeling bullish as always. I think 200K is possible for Bitcoin for sure in the near future. But again, XRP, you guys, when I saw the 401k news, Drew and I were talking about this today. I was like, who's probably going to be the biggest beneficiary of that? It's probably XRP because so many of those people are going to buy XRP in their 401k. So
here's the thesis for that because, on the surface, that sounds all right. I mean, is that going to be the case? Yes, it is. Let me put you in the mind of retail. This is what retail is going to do. They're going to look at all the crypto indexes. They're going to look at all the crypto, basically the market caps. And they're going to see, all right, well, Bitcoin's the most valuable and it's worth 100,000. ETH is the second most valuable. It's worth thousands. And XRP is the third most valuable, and it's worth $3. Do not think that retail is going to be looking at market caps. Do not think that retail is going to say, oh, well, the market cap of XRP, if it were to double and it'd still be less than Ethereum and it's going to be $6. They're not thinking like that. They're thinking of 1, 2, 3, 100,000, thousands, $3. they're going to yellow in on that $3 coin. Why? Oh, well, it's the number 3 coin. It must be valuable. It must be good. It must have some sort of future growth projected. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the 3rd most valuable cryptocurrency. And they're just going to yellow in because of price bias, unit bias.
Yeah, and they've got really strong media presence. I mean, XRP, other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, has probably, and Chainlink's starting to get up there, but probably has the strongest mainstream media presence and has for a long time. So there's going to be a lot of bullish news getting talked about on mainstream media. So they're going to hear something. Oh, XRP is the future. It's the cheapest one. Oh, I'll buy it.
Need it. Banks need it.
Banks need it.
Need it? Oh, well, banks need it. Oh, I'm getting a call from my nephew. Oh, banks need it? $10,000 a coin, but it's only $3. I guess I'll buy a bunch.
Right. And by the way, somebody said it's going to 10K. I hope you're not talking about XRP.
ETH?
Yeah. ETH, yes.
Yeah.
ETH is definitely
ETH's
going
going
to 10K.
XRP, no, definitely not.
Bitcoin, no.
Stick my entire reputation on it. I'll give up Magic the Gathering for the rest of my life if it hits $10,000.
There you go. So, but that's what I say. Super bullish. I still, maybe $10 if you're lucky.
If it goes to 10K, I will sell all 3.7 Chainlink.
There you
All right, I'll divest
back
my
to the old
Chainlink
Chainlink jokes. I forgot about those. So,
well, look, once you diamond hand your 3.6 Chainlink, you're going to hold on to that 3.6
right.
forever, everybody. I will never give up my 3.5 Chainlink.
Yeah, Chainlink. Actually, I'm looking at a Cointelegraph. Chainlink launches Chainlink Reserve Fund with Link. I mean, Link is
that was announced just now from Scott Melker's live show. I'm thinking, wait, did you not already have a reserve of your Chainlink token?
Right.
Oh, you just been dumping it on us? What are you, XRP?
No, I'm sure they're just making it more of a public thing. But Chainlink, I think, is really going to see its, a lot. I think their payments kick in like November when they actually like turn fees on for everything. It might be October, but I'm pretty
those
sure.
who don't know, it is free. It's a freemium model, and then they're going to hit you with like a lot of mobile games. It's like, oh, I'm sucked in playing Clash of Clans, but now I keep getting my ass kicked by a bunch of Koreans, so I got to spend some money. That's what's going to happen. They get everybody into the ecosystem. They all start loving Chainlink, and they're like, well, I'm already using it. I guess I'll burn 2 Chainlink per transaction. And oh, what do you know? We're doing 500 transactions a day, 10,000 transactions a day.
Oh, he was talking about Mammo to 10K. By the way, I see your question. Was it GMA crypto? I'm going to save some of those for later about exit strategy for your cycle, some of that sort of stuff. I'll save your questions and we'll do a Q&A towards the end of the show. So if you guys have anything like that, go ahead and drop them, and I'll star them, and we can hit them at the end.
Mr. XRP, I'm trying to be bullish, King XRP. We are literally saying they're going to be the main beneficiary of the 401k system. Don't get mad at us because they're saying it's not going to $10,000.
Yeah,
just not. I guess we could do the super chats though. Views and Arculus, did holdings and wallet get captured in the snapshot? There was a snapshot. There definitely is a snapshot. There's a lot of talking forward. That kind of talked about this on yesterday's live stream. We're waiting for individual messages from those individual wallets, whether it be Arculus, whether it be Ledger. So wait for your actual, listen to see what they actually say, because this is a major airdrop, and I imagine they're going to have some sort of communications on this. And thank you, everybody. Smash that like button and subscribe, because we got to go look at the altcoins.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, coins are going nuts. ETH is up 6%. We have let's see here. Dogecoin also up 6%. Cardano up 4.5%. Keep scrolling here. We have a lot of Chainlink is now up 7%. Let's look at the biggest gainers in the top 100 on CoinGecko. Mantle, Pengu, IP, and Sui. So we're seeing a lot of the coins we have been talking about, like Sui being a main gainer, Athena being a main gainer, Chainlink, and Polygon still printing off the base downtime. That's kind of my prediction. That's why I think you're seeing a lot of these L2s also pump. Arbitrum's also up 7% today. Ondo, we have Ondo news, everybody. Something happened to Ondo, a major, let's just say, event for people trying to buy Ondo. So have you seen that yet?
Yes, I saw it.
Oh.
Yeah, on your screen.
We'll keep it a secret. We'll keep it a secret, everybody. All right, well, let's look at the big losers real quick, and then we'll get into the 401k news. Hash. We have Hash on the blockchain. TJ, how do you like your Waffle House hash browns? Chat, give me your order. I'll tell you mine. I'm a cheese and hickory smoked ham guy.
Yeah, you're not gonna. I mean, I'm not a hash brown person in general, so yeah, you're not gonna like my answer. It's no hash browns. Yeah, I know.
Grits, or are you one of those like paleo guys?
Paleo mostly. Yeah. I can eat grits. They've grown on me a little bit, but no, mostly if I'm going to Waffle House, it's for waffles. I'm doing the All-Star. It comes with grits, but Yeah, I'm not.
Well, living in the Atlanta area, we go to Waffle House for the fight night.
That's right.
Know? Sometimes UFC, you go that bar is too crowded, or they're charging like $40 at the door. Well, just go to Waffle House, and you see some fisticuffs.
Yeah, bum fights out back, man. That's way better.
Bum fights, throwback right there. All right, let's talk about the 401k news, everybody. So I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you why it's important, and then we'll get into the articles with the details. So what happened? So Trump wants your 401k to hold Bitcoin, buildings, and private deals. I like how you went with alliteration and then just lost it. So real estate. So they're going to have Bitcoin and real estate and also other investment vehicles here. So it's an EO. Supposedly he's going to sign today, and it's going to let people invest their retirement savings in stuff beyond boring stocks and bonds, crypto, real estate, private equity, high risk, high reward stuff, usually off limits to the regular working Joe. Right now, 401ks hold around 12 trillion, and Wall Street wants in. It's a big win for crypto. And why is it important, though? So this is from Wolf of Wall Street's.
Scott,
like we said, it's going to have all these things. So this means tax-deferred or tax-free crypto trading. So this is going to offer tax advantages, exposure to alternative assets previously locked out of retirement plans. Little bit of a caveat. Some 401ks have more flexibility than other 401ks. Some of those 401ks may offer exposure to IBIT, maybe through a risky vehicle, or they may have exposure to MicroStrategy stock. So, mostly locked out of retirement plans. A path for trillions in retirement capital to flow into the crypto markets is a massive win for financial freedom. Until now, most average Americans couldn't touch Bitcoin or altcoins in a 401k. Again, not all of them. Some could have some exposure. I did a little bit of a research into this, TJ. Most do just have, if you go to their webpage, it'll offer like 8 different strategies or 12 different strategies. And rarely you could see, maybe some crypto exposure in some of those high risk, high reward, tech-based strategies there. But for the most part, they really didn't have a way of buying Bitcoin here. So here's the article. Here's the details. So Trump wants to allow crypto in these 401k plans. That's a accurate photo right there. Looks like a weird Chat GPT yellow logo. Or he's looking at a Waze app. I think he's just looking at a traffic map there. So he's going to sign this EO supposedly today to add crypto to 401ks. This is in conjunction with the U.S. Labor Department. And they're going to reevaluate restrictions around these alternative assets in these DC plans, defined contribution plans, including digital assets, private equity, and real estate. Now, once implemented, this will grant Americans access to these plans through their 401k. Now, despite investors increasing crypto allocations, we're talking about the institutions, we're talking about BlackRock, we're talking about the elites in Wall Street, they can increase their crypto allocations. Meanwhile, the average everyday saver, they have been restricted due to fiduciary risk, regulatory uncertainty, and volatility concerns. So while the rich was able to get rich when Bitcoin was 30K and start loading up, you were not able. And so that's just another example of the man trying to keep you down. Now, this is also going to be a side deal with the Treasury and the SEC. They're going to explore rule changes that may support the adoption of some of these investments like crypto into these retirement accounts. Now, I said, let's look at Reddit. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's go.
I tried to find the most neutral subreddit. So neutral, this also one with a lot of comments and everything. Just a reminder, investing subreddit, unrelated political comments will be removed. Okay, so we're just going to get the straight and narrow here. We're just cutting it right down the middle. Yeah. No shenanigans, no hogwash on politicking here, right? All right, well, let's see here. Top account. They quote the article. Oh, yes, let's gamble our retirement on businesses that don't have to be transparent about their financials. What business is Bitcoin?
What? Well, I love that. Like, don't have to be transparent. Like, what are you talking about? Bitcoin is literally open source, open ledger. It's created for people who don't trust things. You can verify 100% of the transactions yourself. And everything else basically isn't transparent. Like other business, almost any security out there has a lot more obfuscation than Bitcoin does. Every government out there has more hidden than Bitcoin does. That's the most acidine comment.
We got 2 more. We got 2 more. I'm not going to go read them all, but we got 2 more. God, LMAO, I'm laughing my buttocks off of my body. I'm hysterically laughing, grabbing my sides. I'm in pain. I need to be put in an institution. I'm laughing so hard. The bias in this article is unbelievable. Quoting the article, greater opportunity for growth and long-term rewards. Well, duh. and no mention of the greater opportunity to lose everything. You might as well open 401ks to Powerball and Mega Millions.
What?
Yeah, they're the same thing.
Yeah.
They're the same thing, obviously.
Right. Yeah, Powerball Mega Millions exactly the same as the highest and best performing asset for the past decade. That's just melting everything on the planet. Yeah, sure. Okay.
We got last one here. Oh no, this was literally the cause of the Enron crisis. Literally. This is what did Enron in.
Oh my God. These are the top comments.
I mean, yeah. I had to scroll down like 5 to get to that one.
Either
yeah, essentially, yes.
At this point, either Reddit's entire thing is parody and everybody's just ironically, sarcastically funnier than people realize, and maybe I'm just not getting the joke, or anybody that hasn't moved off of Reddit yet is just retarded.
Or Dreamula says, we're just early.
Yeah.
We're just early. Good stuff. Rage bait comments. Maybe it's a little rage bait, but I don't know. I think that website has been broken. It was one of my favorite websites probably 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And then I noticed, for fun, I would go to controversial. And the first year or two, I'm like, look at these idiots under controversial. And then I slowly, like 10%, 20%, then 50%, then all of them, I started agreeing with them. And I'm like, wait a minute. Sort by controversial to actually find the truth. I realized it was an echo chamber, and I fell for a lot of fake news. More the Mueller report and stuff.
Yeah,
like
a
that.
lot of people. I mean, Reddit used to be great. That's kind of my point.
If you grew up out of 4chan, you went to Reddit,
and you got a lot of good information there, and then I think a lot of the smart, in my opinion, a lot of the best information, especially the quickest information, is on X now, and it feels like most of the smart people adapted and realized, wait a minute, Reddit is not a valuable source of information anymore. The way that their upvote, downvote system works and the karma and all that stuff it got gamed basically and broke the entire
state
website.
actors and people maybe pushing agendas.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm working. I will bring this. I'm not single-handedly bringing it back. It's already back. I kind of waited till the coast is clear, but yeah, I'm openly saying that these days. So.
I'm trying to be a little bit more loose with my language, but with the audience here, maybe we only get a little crazy in the Twitch streams. We did a little Magic stream yesterday. Guess what, TJ? I won. Only did one match, but I'm playing against the world's best players here. And thank you. That looked like, was that a Ape Society? It might have been an ape. I saw that NFT there, buddy. Thank you for the repost there, Pizza Mike. All right, now what's the actual numbers on this retirement amount? I'm seeing different numbers. I'm seeing 37, 39, 42, 40. Maybe they're rounding. This is the actual number of money in retirement accounts. What's the real amount? Again, I haven't, verified this information through the 25 sources and the 15 posts, but I'm assuming this is largely accurate here. So full retirement figures is going to be 37 trillion that could be unlocked. A lot of this is going to be in IRAs, 12 trillion. And then you're going to see the DC plans, defined contribution plans, 401ks, but you also see DC plans or DB plans with governments. And so when you have a defined benefit plan for the government or defined benefit plan, whether it's state, local, or federal, oftentimes this is going to give you a playbook or a rule book for your retirement account. Say you got 30 years left on your pension. They're going to be a little bit more high risk in the front end, more stocks. And then as you grow older, they lower the risk profile of your retirement. And then that's when it goes into more treasuries, maybe a little gold exposure there. And so it is defined benefit because it kind of has the playbook for the next 30 years. And then we also have annuities, $2.2 trillion. You add that all up, folks, 37 trillion. So a lot of money could potentially pour into the digital asset space and real estate. If you're a homeowner, your home, probably is going to slow down that decline. If you're not a homeowner, it just got that much more difficult to become one.
Yeah, and just for perspective, there's about 3.8 trillion in all of crypto. 2.3 of that is Bitcoin. Then the rest is like all the other altcoins. So that just gives you perspective of how small the crypto market cap, total market cap of all crypto is compared to the amount of money in the world. And the tidal, there was a lot of news about a tidal wave not long ago. The real tidal wave is the tidal wave of money that's going to be coming into crypto over these next couple of years. I've been saying this. If you guys follow my X, I constantly say, you're not bullish enough. You're not bullish enough. You're not bullish enough. I really think it's going to get silly.
Yeah, this ain't no baby tsunami like Hawaii last week. This is like the Sri Lankan tsunami. Yeah. Okay. This one's actually going to have some impact behind
It's going to knock over banks. It's going to topple titans that have been around for 100
knocked
years.
over those fishing huts.
That's right.
Is it too soon?
No.
Nah, I don't think so. We can talk about that. All right, let's talk about a little Bitcoin price target here. And I got something that's going to make you blow the back out of your pants because this is insanely bullish. I don't think 150 might be enough here, folks. So dollars death cross signaling 150K Bitcoin target. And so what do we always say here? We don't trust, we verify. So let's go to the DXY. This was on a weekly chart here. So I go to the weekly, I pull up death cross, boom. What do you know? We did, create this print last 2 weeks ago. Now it's starting to, play out. But what does this mean for
on
Bitcoin?
the weekly? Dang.
On the weekly, DXY.
Ouch.
Yeah, the dollar is dumping on the weekly here. So not looking great here. But what happened last time? So you see the bull cross, you see the last death cross. Last death cross, as we started to have a significant decline, the decline started May 20, June 20. That's actually that first candle. June 1st, 2020. So the beginning of June 2020. And then we had the death cross right here. January 1st, essentially, is the fourth. January 1st, 2021. So June, we saw basically decline on the DXY. And then we had the death cross in June. So January and June. That's the important numbers that we're looking at here. And so we have the decline starting here, January. And the death cross almost happened in June, July. So a little bit of an opposite there. So let's go back and run the numbers. Remember, we're looking at January and June 2020. January and June 2020. Let's go to the log chart.
Yeah, I know what happened in both of those
January 2020. Remember, this is right when the dollar started to lose or, started declining. Then you go back to June 2020. This is the last time we saw a death cross for the dollar. Created a huge pump. Now, Bitcoin's a much larger asset. 575% pump. That's what happened last time we saw the dollar collapse, like we're just seeing the dollar collapse right now. Now, I know this is a lagging indicator, but it was a lagging indicator right here as well. Actually kind of found a little bit of a bottom, traipsed along on the bottom, and then ended up pumping. And then that's when you're going to see a little bit of a decline. And Bitcoin 2022 was the bear market. So, maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe this is why Bitcoin declined so strongly when it went below 20K. But this is potentially very, very bullish. I guess we could do the moon math.
Do it.
475%. There's no way, right? There's probably no way this happens. I think I really got to shrink it here. 475% pump. Oh, wait, we're on DXY. I was like, God, why am I shrinking that Y-axis? And I'm not seeing the numbers change on the top. 475% pump. You're looking at $650,000 Bitcoin.
Wow.
Now, I don't think it's going to 650 based off of the death cross on the DXY. I'm just merely pointing out that is literally saying it correctly, literally what happened last time. So you might not be bullish enough on basically your currency collapsing. You might be bearish on your economy, and maybe rightfully so, but you're not bullish enough on Bitcoin, what the dollar collapse might mean. All right, we got another $10 super chat. Boomers are dying. Gen X millennials are inheriting money. That money isn't going to go into the shady stock market. Most young people are throwing it into crypto. I'm Gen X, and I'm so sick and disgusted with stocks. I do agree with that. I think a large portion of that wealth shift is going to be tied up in your grandma's house. All of a sudden, it's $1.3 million. She bought it for 2 bushels of strawberries and 1 large pumpkin.
Yep.
That days are over. Those days are gone. You're not going to see home prices that low again. So that is a significant portion of the wealth inheritance, but there is going to be a lot of boring ass retirement accounts. Why do I have grandpa's retirement account just earning me 3-5% a year? We're going to yellow that into the crypto casino. Yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot of that. Dustin Prince is speaking for the people.
Yeah, and to his point, boomers are passing. So grandma passes, it's a $1.7 million house. The house gets sold because the next generation doesn't want to pay the taxes and the maintenance on it. Sell the house,
and she was in an HOA.
Yeah, both the 2 kids split the money, and like he's saying, it's most likely going into Bitcoin. And
I forget that is actually what happens. Most older people, they do have siblings, and so when grandma passes, which of the 4 sibling gets it? Yeah, you end up selling it.
That's what I used. We used to.
I'm an only child, so I was a little bit biased there.
No, but it usually ends up getting sold, and even if they aren't splitting it, again, it's hard to maintain. Somebody's got to mess with it. So
except for the grandmas on the reverse mortgage.
Yeah, I saw some of those.
I inherit nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
No, you actually inherit some debt. Here you go. Pay these bills.
Yeah, she actually lived longer than she was supposed to.
Yeah.
Pay up.
But on that note, I 100% agree with what he's saying. And this is, I have a story where I was talking with somebody literally yesterday. he bought. I didn't even remember that I gave him this advice, but apparently he'd come into a decent amount of money. I gave him the advice to buy, go hard on Bitcoin, and he did when Bitcoin was at 16K. And I didn't even really remember or realize. And he said, "Oh, of all the people that gave me advice, like yours was the highest ROI for me." And I was like, "Oh, great! I'm happy to hear." I didn't even remember what I told him, and then he was like, "Yeah, you told me to buy Bitcoin at 16K." I was like, "Oh, yeah, that tracks." But I think I don't know if he sold all of it, but he bought at 16K and he sold at 90K, and he was feeling pretty good about it. I didn't have the heart to tell him like that might have been the biggest mistake of your life.
Yeah.
Like if you bought 5 or 10 Bitcoin around 16K that you could have just sat on for the next 10 to 15 years, you probably would have no concerns at all about anything else forever if you just sit on it right now, versus like take the bag. I don't know how much you made, but and it's for exactly that reason. It really hit me that this is the generational trade. You're not going to find a better trade, long-term thesis trade in our lifetime. This is it. This is a changing of the financial system. It's an updating of the financial system, whatever you want to call it. This season that we've been in for the last 10 years and will continue to be in for the next 50 to 80 years at least is going to continue. And the best thing you do is accumulate and sit on it. And you're in a generational trade. Don't outthink yourself. And that's what I think most people do. Gen X is realizing that. Millennials are realizing that. Gen Z and Gen A will get there. Gen Alpha is still in the trenches. They're gonna fight their way out of the trenches, and then they're gonna take their profits and they're gonna put them in Bitcoin. And somebody did ask, "What's my exit plan?" That is, I am on a lifelong journey of accumulating as much Bitcoin as I can from here on out.
But your alts does have a little bit of a selling plan, right?
That's what I'm saying. And that's where I was going. The part of this journey is I speculate on other things. I do trade. I do think I can. I do think I have an edge at identifying lower cap projects. We crushed it with A0X so far. Mammo, Morpho, Arrow, basically everything on base, Black Hole, Chainlink, Aave, all these things that we talk about all the time. I do think they will perform well against Bitcoin for a season, and then I will roll those profits back into Bitcoin. But I do not think selling Bitcoin to buy back lower. It really hit me when Michael Saylor was comparing it to Apple stock and comparing you to somebody early on in Apple and saying like, "Oh man, I bought Apple stock for $14 and then I sold it for $18." And fast forward 20 years, and you're like, "Man, you're a moron for selling Apple stock at $18."
This comment reminds me of my journey like that. I bought a bunch of $2 Chainlink and sold it at $4. Not the best move. Should I sell 100 NVIDIA and buy Chainlink? If you have 0 Chainlink, maybe you should probably gain some exposure. But I heard some great advice. Let your winners ride. I think NVIDIA is going to be a pretty strong stock moving forward. And I know I wouldn't want to sell my 3.2 Chainlink. I would want to add to that. So if you have 0 and it's really like bothering you, maybe get rid of 20 shares. I wouldn't just full port, everything right now. Are you ready for some echoes, TJ? Echo?
Yeah, as long as it's not an echo chamber. Yeah.
Echo.
What do you got?
Echo the Dolphin.
Okay.
No, not Echo the Dolphin, although that was a great game. No, Bitcoin is echoing a 2024 pattern. I saw a 50% pump. So we're talking about a recent pattern here, not something from June and January 2020. We're talking about actually very, very recent. And they're talking about this pattern right here. It says Bitcoin USD 3-day chart. I drew that out. We got the same situation here. So what did our breakout from this point look like? Some are saying this breakout is remarkably similar to this breakout. I would say they're fairly similar here. And you can see we did have a pretty significant pump, 63% pump. And if we bounce 63% from this trend line, which we hit 2 3-day candles ago, 63% pump, you're looking at $185,000 Bitcoin. All right, I'm loving that. Is there a way to trade alts with Bitcoin and not USDT? Yeah,
there are. It's just not. There's not as much liquidity in those pairs as much as there once
for
was.
American exchanges.
Yeah,
Binance has tons of Bitcoin trading pairs.
Right, exactly. And they've put, and for the most part, they've forced people to go through the dollar, and a lot of there used to be everything was a Bitcoin pair. And then there was a lot of Ethereum pairs, and then USDT came out, and then they started forcing you through dollars and USDT. So yes, they exist. Just look for them.
All right. Well, speaking of some of these trading pairs, we're going to look at ETH trading pairs, and we're actually going to go to ETH Binance, ETH BTC on Binance. This is from Tom Lee. It's only 50 seconds. I think it's worth a listen here, where he says ETH can go to 16K based on ETH Bitcoin ratio. And we're going to, again, we don't trust, we verify. We're going to verify if this guy's smoking too much opium, or we might be looking at a 16K ETH.
So it's adding about 80 cents to $1 worth of ETH every day.
Interesting. I mean, when I think about strategy, it is really kind of, it's the whale in the Bitcoin market, just because they have been buying up so much Bitcoin. So if Bitmine is taking a similar approach to Ethereum, where do you see prices for Ether going?
Well, I looked at some research from Sean Farrell, who's our head of digital asset strategy, and he put out a presentation about Ethereum today. So he thinks the ratio of Ethereum to Bitcoin could go back to its 2021 highs, which is about 0.14. That would value Ethereum today at around 16,000, and it's currently 3,700. So he's just saying Bitcoin ratio versus ETH, let's get back to where it was 5 years ago, which makes sense because it's a better story today than it was in 2021. And that gets you, close to 16.
All right. I don't know if it's a better story, but I don't want to get too sidetracked on the minutia there. Let's actually look at that. So I'm going to have to remove this so I can add to, and we're going to look at the charts here.
Appreciate the shout out, Mahoroni. I can't say that right, but love the evolution of the channel. Great work, Discover Crypto. Thanks. We've got actually a lot of big stuff in the works too, of new stuff coming later this year. So stay tuned.
All right. Now, this is actually a pretty good take. Then we'll look at the charts here. They're talking about his 16K call as, the main takeaway here. But the bigger news, 10% crypto allocation for the median investors and 20% for the more risk tolerant people, aka people got more time to make sure that their retirement account doesn't crash to zero. Now, Wolf of All Street's also pointing this out. Hard to find a more bullish chart than ETH versus Bitcoin. To remind you, first higher high in almost 4 years. It broke bearish structure, flipped the weekly 50 EMA or SMA, the moving average, first time in 3 years, and tested both levels as support for the last 3 weeks. Now, we have had some rejections when you look at USD, but things are looking really good when you price in BTC. So let's do that ourselves. So now I'm not going to say 0.14 ratio. Sure did hit some, really good ratios. I think this trend line is probably going to play out, but that still gives us 7%, which is half. But Bitcoin's not going to be 110K all the time. Bitcoin's going to pump, and let's just assume we'll do a quick back of the napkin math. Maybe we'll do 200K here. So if ETH does pump against Bitcoin, it's going to pump up to 7%. You get a nice little gain here. But TJ, what's 7% of 200K?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot with percentages. Yeah, go ahead. 14.
$14,000.
Yeah.
$14,000. And that's if this bearish trend line plays out. If we have a $150,000 Bitcoin, you're looking at 7 plus 3. You're looking at a $10,500 ETH. And that's only with a $150,000 Bitcoin. And if we really do some moon math, 14% of 200K. Now you're looking at a $28,000 Bitcoin. That's why I think 14% might be a little bit high. That's because that's with a 200K Bitcoin.
Wait, what? You said $28,000? You mean ETH?
ETH, what did I say? Yeah, $28,000 ETH there.
Yeah.
So very, very doable targets. And we don't need 14%. I think a lot of people's criticisms is going to be, well, ETH will never hit 14% of Bitcoin to reach some of these stratospheric levels. It doesn't need to. It only needs to get up back to this trend line. And if you look how fast ETH can move against Bitcoin, it can get there in a very, very short amount of time, much shorter than you're expecting. And boom, next thing you know, we're tapping the yellow line.
Yeah, I see this comment here. He says, I'm bullish on ETH, but I don't see above 10K. And this is part of why I think a lot of people aren't bullish enough or bearish enough on the dollar, which DZ just break down the death cross on the dollar. You have to take, it's a lot of relative moving parts, right? So we were just looking at the ETH BTC chart, Bitcoin price is moving, Ethereum price is moving. I've been saying 10K ETH for a while, 8 to 10K. At this point, it does feel like 10K ETH could be FUD or bearish, like at 12, 14, 16 is on the high side. And he didn't put a time cap on that. If we do pump all the way through next year into the middle of 2026, and we're still running at some of those levels, I could see it happen. 10K is still a nice round target for me. There's going to be a lot of profit taking there, and I also agree with you. I don't think it gets back to 0.14. And this is why you always want to take your long-term holdings into Bitcoin, because so far Everything trends down against Bitcoin on a long enough time horizon. Literally everything. So if you've got the Apex, this is that Michael Saylor. If you've got the Apex asset, why would you put your money in anything else? Just keep piling into it and piling into it. So yeah.
The only thing that bothers me is that dang Tron chart and that XRP chart are just like consistent against Bitcoin for a long, long time. So
yeah, but only
I do
only
think
the
they'll
last,
break down eventually.
only in the last couple of years. You know, that's the thing. Like if you go back further, they're dramatic. If you go to the beginning, they're down.
Well, yeah, that's, some might say, well, a lot of that is going to be the 2018 craze and that 2018 mania phase. But, remarkably consistent there.
Yeah. Yeah. But I just think go out, fast forward another 10 years.
Yeah, probably.
They're not, it's not going to be making up ground on Bitcoin.
You don't expect XRP's chart to look that good against Bitcoin, though.
Well, yeah.
Again, good is relative. I count these spikes as like, there's just weird moments in crypto. This is remarkably consistent.
Yeah, it's definitely found a bottom.
No, it was a bottom. Bottom was a while ago. And then we had the Trump pump, everybody. All right, let's get to the next story here. We have a little fun time in crypto. I've been seeing this guy everywhere. I just saw him like 8 times in the last 24 hours.
Oh, yeah, he's been everywhere.
This is the new guy. Remember the guy that was on the boat? This is the new guy. This is the new guy. I bring this up because there is a crypto element. Did you know he got beepled?
No.
Got beepled this morning.
Nice.
And infinite final bosses.
Yeah. No, he's the guy that, dumps on the meme. The one I saw a bunch is, the kid, the meme coin kid with the, doing the thing that's like, this is him now. Do you feel old yet? People do that over and over and over.
Meme coin kid?
The pump fun, I'm not going to do it, but it was,
the pumped.fun kid. Yeah. This is him when he did a cycle of steroids.
Yeah.
He's only 16 years old right there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what the trenches will do to you, folks. That's why you just let me and TJ and Josh hang out in the trenches, Drew and Kelly. You don't want to be dirty like us. You don't want to be covered with a ooze and a viscous fluid that just makes you feel dirty every day.
Yeah, just get in the Discord. We'll give you the alpha that we find in there, and you can actually have a life, so you don't have to eat, sleep, and breathe crypto all the time like we do.
I almost want to throw India under the bus.
Don't do it.
Don't do it?
Nah.
Okay, I won't do it. All right, U.S.-India, though, trade did collapse, everybody. I'm not going to do it. For the last 4 months, we've received constant headlines about a U.S. trade deal coming with India. Just as it got close, everything collapsed, and it got even worse. It all went downhill July 30th when Trump accused India of supporting the Russian war with Ukraine, threatening a penalty. Then Indian officials said India will buy Russian oil still, despite the threats. And then Trump announced fresh tariffs on India, specifically for buying Russian oil. India now facing existing tariffs of 25% with another 25% for a total of 50%, quickly becoming the primary front for Trump's trade war. Ooh, so let's look what else happened. So we doubled tariffs on 50%, up to 50% for India, and pose an additional 15% tariff on Japan, 100% tariff on semiconductors with cutouts for companies that invest in America. Some of those investment announcements are not probably going to be accurate. I think Apple said $500 billion. Total money spent last year, CapEx, or the CapEx, which is capital expenditures. Apple spent $94 billion last year. So that's everything. So they're not going to spend $500 billion building factories. That's just a lie.
No, that's probably not a 1-year thing.
No, it isn't. It's 5-year, but they're still not going to. When you look at their CapEx expenditures, they have like stores and employees and insurance and all these things. And so they're not going to just double. They're not going to double their CapEx expenditures building, 18 factories across the U.S. If you go into the details on what their CapEx expenditures, $500 billion is just totally ridiculous. But also pharmaceutical tariffs, 250% coming soon. All 4 of these had previous trade deals announced. Did the trade deals just stall? So Taco meme no longer accurate. He didn't chicken out here.
No, well, and here's what I love about it. This is the most significant part in my mind. Markets are up today. So
let's go into this. I got a nice little beat on that. So wow, despite the tariffs, 82% of the S&P 500s have beat their quarterly earnings estimates. This is the highest rate in 4 years. Imagine that, stunning. So the experts keep getting it wrong. I got more on the experts here. One of the best charts we've seen in a while. These are the experts. The people paid big money to react to markets, yet pretend they got some crystal ball. Oh, this is where we're going Q3. This is where we're going Q1 26. Such a scam. Nobody knows anything. Here's the proof. initial forecast for the S&P at the end of the year, they started here. They had a reaction to Trump's tariffs, and then they're here. And so it's just kind of, this sums it up. Hilarious. Literally just following the price.
Yeah, they're just reacting there, which is, I thought this was good too. And this is something good to keep in mind. Our job here is to cover the news on this sort of stuff. It's to bring you our thoughts, our reaction. So like, that's what I was going to say. I see this news, markets are up today. What I take away from this is the tariff stuff is having less and less impact on the markets. When he comes out and says something today, I don't think it's going to have the same effect it did back in March, back in April, back in May, which is kind of what we've been saying on this channel the whole time. We thought as you got through this summer, most of this stuff is going to get worked out and we'll get extremely bullish towards the end of this year. So seeing things like that is just a good reminder. If you're at home watching, you are the one responsible for your investment decisions. You are the one who's doing your research. We do a lot. We put a lot of energy into bringing you the best information we can find and sharing our thoughts and our journey with you. But at the end of the day, you're the one making the decision. And so you need to take all of this information in and decide for yourself. That's one thing I've learned through crypto is that my gut and my conviction is good. And if I follow it, I will prosper. And hopefully you can get there as well. Don't blindly follow people. You're going to hear a lot of insane stuff coming out over the next 6 months from all sorts of places, not just YouTube. I'm talking any sort of media. It could be Bloomberg, it could be Fox Business. You're going to hear some insane predictions coming out of there, and it's your responsibility to decide what you think and allocate your money properly. And that's what we try to help you do on this channel. That's what we do in the Discord. I'm actually doing a portfolio review with one of our members later today to talk through, again, their financial goals. What are you trying to accomplish? What's your personal strategy? We'll share ours with you. That's why we do this. But it's just a good reminder. Even the people that are paid insane amounts of money to predict the market, they're just making their best guess. So
what's up, cuz? What's up, blood? What's up, gangs? Hit that like button, everybody. I was actually way off. It wasn't 93 billion in CapEx. I was way off.
What was it?
9.3.
Okay.
They only did 43 billion over the last 4 years. So it was 9.3. So yeah, saying they're going to spend 500 billion. I don't know if they're going to 50x. They don't even have that much cash. Doomers, speaking of things pumping and just the markets being a lot more bullish than you're expecting. This is from Caleb Franzen. Doomers, the bears, they don't want you to see this. Credit card delinquency rates remain lower than they have in most of the past 3 decades.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see, I remember hearing about these spikes.
I saw
rates are up. They're up. They're up.
Yeah.
And then I haven't seen the zoomed out chart.
Mm-hmm. I saw the same. That's why I shared. I saw that same chart like a week ago. Like, oh, credit card delinquencies are going through the roof. There was another one somebody shared that was like median home price when adjusted for wages and inflation. And it's also not nearly as bad as the doomers want you to think. So the whole world isn't collapsing. They will continue to print money to prop up the economy, and that's why we do Bitcoin.
Or it's Klarna. It's not Klarna. Klarna is like, well, it's all burrito payments on Klarna. It's not popping up on that chart. Let's talk about the Fed. I always like saying how much of a scam the Fed is. My gut feeling that the Fed is a scam. Grok also agrees. Here's just a really cool question. They say, answer in one word. The Fed, what the heck does it do? While publicly overseen, is owned by private member banks that profit from its operations via capped dividends. Critics like Rothbard argue it enables fractional reserve banking where they create money from thin air, fueling inflation, aka a hidden tax, especially on the working class, eroding public wealth while benefiting financial elites. What's a one-word answer that's an alternative to this corrupt system? Bitcoin.
Yeah, that was good. I don't know if you saw the video I shared. I've got it. It's a really good AI video that TFTC did.
Was it not the island, Jekyll?
Jekyll Island. Yeah, this is in Georgia. This is like
I could just tell.
A few hour drive from here. This is the beginning of the Federal Reserve. It's a really good depiction. It's basically straight facts.
None of them wanted to be on the Titanic, right?
Yeah, they definitely.
Is there a connection there? Is that all weird stuff?
Some say that there's definitely connections. Now, whether they're, the conclusions that are drawn from those connections are true or not, like
there is no second boat. That is what they call a limited hangout. Don't fall for the second boat narrative.
Yeah. But this is only 2 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing because of the time on the show. I just don't want to play a 2-minute video for you guys in the middle of the show. But You should definitely. I'll put the link to this in the
make sure
chat.
you're following Discover Crypto.
Yeah, go watch it on X. The opportunity cost is another thing that TFCTC just started. He put the numbers out today. Let me see if I can find it. That let's see. I'll just share this. I just thought it was interesting. Marty Bent, great Bitcoin content creator, been doing this for a really long time. This ad cost us $100 in tokens to create across Quad, ChatGPT, VO. So it's all AI. Has over 1 million impressions in less than 48 hours. It's an incredibly well put together use of AI. This is what AI should be used for.
Yeah, I mean 20 hours. Yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense. So yeah, this isn't something you just make in 20 seconds or 20 minutes. 20 hours.
Yeah, it looks great.
We want to control America's money supply.
I mean, you can
That's
create
the world's
boom,
most interesting man.
trigger busts, and profit from both. And how will we do that?
Anyway, go check that out if you guys haven't watched it already. I shared it in the Discord a long time ago. So, and if you're not in the Discord, you're definitely missing out on a lot of those.
Is that champagne in the glasses or Dos Equis?
That's probably like fine wine.
Or it's Andrina. Anyways, let's talk about Avalanche, everybody. Let's talk about Avalanche. You know what the world's most popular browser is, TJ, on a side note?
Most popular browsers and not Chrome?
Android Chrome.
Yeah, okay.
Android Chrome, Andrina Chrome. Anyways, let's talk about Avalanche here. That's a coincidence. Avalanche, we talked about this token. I didn't realize this is actually kind of turning into, I don't want to say it's decentralized, so it's be a little bit different, but it's almost like the Arrow of Avalanche.
It absolutely is. That's what we've been.
A little more decentralized, though.
It's exact. I mean, they basically copy and pasted. They did change a little bit with the VE Black. If that's what are you talking about, Black, or are you talking about
Black,
the other? Yeah, Black Hole.
And look, they've now passed Trader Joe's, which, you know, LFJ. I think that kind of had to change the name Trader Joe because Trader Joe's literally sued them. But they're crushing it right now.
Yeah, we bought our this is the main thing we've been using in our DeFi community. I mean, we've got some other pools going, but I mean, we were getting 600 or 800% on a full range pool, just literally printing money. We got into this day one. Our community has crushed it. I don't think anybody has. I mean, everybody's up. Shout out to Elio Trades and Becker. Z Becker. This is something that they've worked really hard to put together. It works extremely well. I think it's going to continue to be a power player, probably the top pick on Avalanche, in my opinion. I'm a fan of Avalanche. Been a huge fan of Black Hole, and we will continue to use it. As Steve
about a little bit elevated. It was like after this decline, so I am down. I'm probably going to add to my position though.
Yeah, and DeFi crypto airdrop, same thing. He covers a lot of details on his channel. It's built on the VE33 model, which is exactly the same as Aerodrome. One difference is I think most of the vote holders or the team themselves don't have control anymore. Like they don't have the voting. They have voting control, but they can't sell those tokens like what happened on Arrow, I believe. So it's an incredibly well structured project. If you like DeFi, you're gonna like that. And yeah, DeFi.
What chain is Arrow on?
Base.
Base. Who owns Base or
Coinbase.
runs Base?
Well,
Coinbase.
Yeah.
You know, Coinbase did something for DZ's heart here. Coinbase now has proof of reserves for their wrapped ADA, their wrapped Cardano, Coinbase ADA. It's wrapped ADA on Base, and they now have 4 million tokens reserved there. So they're trying to get me to stop talking trash about them. Yeah, I know your chain went down, so you're doing this to make me like you again. It's working. It's working. All right, we did have a little mint update. I want to just highlight this because we very rarely see these prints on Solana. If it's USDT, you're primarily going to see this on ETH and Tron. If it's USDC, primarily you're going to see this on ETH. And now they're minting $250 million on Solana. So it might be time to start looking at a little Solana DeFi as well. My personal, I actually almost want to just sell it back into Solana so I have just too much DeFi exposure. Camino. Do you think Camino is probably a fairly solid one? Do you have any Solana DeFi or, there's really, compared to other chains, not a super high amount of good, basically compared to ETH. There's not a whole lot of like strong alts on Solana compared to ETH.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of stuff on ETH, but I have, a decent holdings in Radium and Jupiter. We do some, we run pools on Solana as well. So yeah, I like doing the concentrated liquidity stuff. It is a portion of the portfolio. I like to have I kind of separate the revenue generating portions from the long-term holds. So I've got certain stuff that I use to generate revenue through DeFi. Basically, when I say revenue, it's basically generate fees. You can do that pretty well on Radium. You can do it pretty well on Uniswap. We just mentioned Aerodrome and Black Hole. So yeah, we like to
Jupe, Ray, Camino.
Yeah.
I think they're all fine tokens there.
Mhm.
If you do want to look at the ecosystem, you can go to CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. If you
Drift,
type
yeah.
in Solana, teaching you how to fish here, I haven't done it in a while. Go down and you'll see categories and go to Solana ecosystem, and then you are good to go to explore. Now you're going to see a lot of things like Tether, USDC, Wrap Bitcoin, on the top of the list here, but then you'll start seeing some of the stronger projects.
Drift
there.
is another one I forgot about. That's another solid. I don't necessarily know too much about Orca. I know it's out there, but yeah, Drift is another one that fits up
There's
there.
tons and tons of tokens once you start looking there. But like BAT, yeah, I don't look at BAT as a Solana ecosystem token there. All right, now so Coinbase, Solana. We also got bad news for Solana. CZ don't like you. CZ hates you. So
Really?
Binance has approved our reserves, and it's typically like 102, 105. And looking at the recent reserves, they have dumped all their extra ETH. 2% is very significant for Binance. And they've also dumped all of their extra Solana. And I mean like literally all of their Solana. They have one additional Solana token. It's 522,433,596. They hold 597. So they have an extra Solana. They do have one. They're a little bullish. But if you look at Bitcoin, they have an additional, what are we looking at here? That's 10, almost 20,000, like 18,000 additional Bitcoin there. That's going to be very, very significant. Millions of dollars worth. So certain tokens, you see a little bit more value than other tokens, but it does look like they're obviously very bullish on BNB.
Yeah, and it says DeFi says CZ dumped Sol and caused the Sol FTX dump. Well, yeah, that he did have a lot of it. That was actually FTT. It wasn't Solana. He dumped a ton of FTT.
How do we feel about Bank? Was it Banker Coin? I haven't seen anything on Banker Coin. That one seems like a smaller market cap.
Yeah, but
A0X.
Yeah, I do. I've got it right here. There
Might be time to buy it on sale.
Yeah, it's I threw a couple $1,000s at this, kind of right in this range here. I think it's I'm not on the screen. That's a decent hold.
Under $10 million market cap.
Yeah,
so high risk.
This is a micro cap. This is extremely high risk, by the way. This is just I simply bought it. This is on base. It's an AI agent play, kind of similar to virtuals. I wouldn't, it's definitely different angles, but I'm not this is not a long-term hold. This is like, oh, Jesse Pollock of Base is behind it. It looks like Coinbase is going to support it. I'm bullish on the Base ecosystem in general.
The team is hiring like crazy. They're branching out into different languages, and here right now they're hiring for top Latin America talent for their engineering and development teams.
If you're looking for a micro cap to throw something on, try to ride it into the next AI hype wave. Like there's only 1 million in volume on this. There's less than 1 million in liquidity. The market cap's 8 million. This is an extremely small coin. I think I bought around 6 million. Like this, we're talking about this in the Discord. One of our members actually brought it to my attention.
Live on Aerodrome 6 days ago.
Yeah, I like it. And I'm similar to Mamo. I just think it's early to, it's good to get in early on these base plays. I think they're going to have an insane marketing campaign. So I took a flyer on it, not saying, that you're going to get rich buying it. But
I think I'm the same, but I felt a little FOMO on Mamo, and I'm going AO.
Hey, look at that. I like it.
You ready to talk about a little XRP?
Yeah. Give the people
Always
what they
like
want.
doing. Should we do the good news or the bad news?
I said bad news first this time.
Bad news first. All right. Well, the whales are dumping. Are we surprised?
No, that's not even really bad news anymore. Let's, they don't even care. They want that. They're saying bring on the dump. So
this is how you should be acting, but they're like high-fiving instead.
Give us the good news.
It's the scene from Zoolander where they pull the gas thing out of the tank and they're spraying orange Kool-Aid everywhere. Like, you shouldn't be happy. You shouldn't be celebrating, but they'll celebrate it. They'll celebrate it for some reason. All right, so XRP whales, they dumped $2 billion worth as analysts are sounding an alarm over a price decline here. And so they unloaded 640 million tokens, and we're seeing some bear divs on the charts here. But I want to show you, maybe a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. It's the second time in the last year that the whales distributed during the price rallies. And so this bottom line, basically just think of the flow of the whale wallets. And so when you see it going up, it's rising. We see it go down, it's declining here. And I guess they have a base level. And so as XRP started to pump after the Trump pump, this is the Trump pump. Trump wins the election and it pumps all the way into January. You can see the whales dumping the entire time. But guess what? after it, basically signaled that, all right, the rally is over, and we, created some, I would say, pretty significant declines, the whales started to add to their position. And if you look, this recent pump, this is, the tariff war ending. We're starting to see clarity, Genius Act, all this stuff. The whales were declining again, but the light at the end of the tunnel, TJ, that could be the start of a V-shaped recovery.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know, but I'm certainly hoping so. Looking at that November 7th pump right there. And so XRP still just kind of trading along, traipsing, if you will, here. I think they did have one chart. Also, so between November and January, they reduced exposure, even though it pumped. So the demand likely came from retail there. But now they're saying, okay, yeah, we had a decline. I don't know about this one. They're talking about the 2021 pumps, 2020 pump to the 2021 pump. Looks like this pump that we're in right now. We saw a bear div.
It what? Does not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a little bit of a stretch there. Like, oh, here's a top and here's a higher high with a bear div. Okay, here's a top, here's a higher high with a bear div. But I'm not super.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, I would agree. The good news, they bought XRP. Are you tired of being railed by not having banks use this ecosystem? Well, maybe the railing is going to be over. Why? Because they bought the payments firm Rail for $200 million. They failed to buy Circle. They're like, all right, who else can we buy? So they buy $200 million payments firm. Now, Rail doesn't operate their own USDC or USD, kind of stable coin. I was wondering, what the heck do they do? It's a stable coin powered payment infrastructure platform. Essentially, they have licenses with some global banks. And so to me, this is a licensing play. I'm kind of, reading between the tea leaves here. That's not what you say, but I'm reading the tea leaves here. And my suspicion, this is just a great acquisition of some banking charters.
Yeah, no, I think
which is good, which is bullish.
I've always been bullish on Ripple as a company and their leadership and their management. I do believe they've got a large war chest. They've got big lobbying firms. They've got an opportunity to acquire things. Ripple, I believe, will be relevant and will be around for a long time. It's just a matter of, can they get the XRP token integrated into what they're doing? For the most part, so far, the answer has been no.
Not to cut you off. Now it's the RLUSD token integrated.
Well, yeah, RLUSD, which is a stable coin. That's kind of my point. Like, a lot of the people are holding XRP, and a lot of what Ripple's doing doesn't necessarily benefit that token. And when you say that, people get really upset. But that's my observation of it.
And a bank isn't going to want to do transfers of a token that fluctuates wildly, and crypto fluctuates wildly on the grand scheme of things.
And there's a large they've talked a decent amount. They've given a lot of airtime to the idea of an IPO for Ripple. That, to me, if I was going to do any type of investing in that company, I'd wait for the IPO and potentially buy that. Not saying for sure that I would, but then they're going to be very interested in pumping that price up. So also, if you guys have any questions for the Q&A, hit them in there now and I'll save them. I've got a couple saved already. So if you've got questions for DZ or I, drop them in the chat now and I'll put them on the side.
All right, let's talk a little alpha on Aave. Protect yourselves out there, folks. Aave is getting hit with phishing attacks day after hitting 60 billion in net deposits. And this is going to be from Google Ads. So scammers are launching a phishing campaign targeting its users through Google Ads. They have a picture of it, and it looked pretty scary, if I'm going to be honest. Now, you can see it's aaxe.co.com. But the blue links, if you got bad boomer eyes, you definitely get scammed on this. What do we do here, TJ? We don't trust what?
Verify.
Let's try it. I haven't done it. I swear I haven't done it. I'm curious. I typed in Aave. I'm just going to hit search. Okay, so it gives us the AI slop on the top. Gives us real Aave right there. Wikipedia, CoinMarketCap, University of Hawaii. I don't see it.
Maybe they caught it. Yeah.
Maybe they got it.
Yeah, that could be.
Could be. So, all right, maybe we're out of the woods. We might be out of the woods now.
And I will say, be careful when it comes to crypto scams. They're at all-time highs. Be very careful what you click on. Most of the time, you'll see that verified secure lock on the URL. I wouldn't Google. Go to a page that you can trust, and then kind of link through there. If you're buying a token, use the contract address. Don't type in the name of the ticker. All that sort of stuff.
All right. I hate Google ad emails. I got my first Coinbase scam text in first time in weeks. And I was like, oh, I forgot what that felt like. All right. Now, JP Morgan, though, not happy with DeFi. and they're kind of bearish on it. They're saying it's not picking up like we expected. Why? Main reason is still below 2021 highs. And so TVL and DeFi still remains below the highs from the last cycle, with most activity not coming from the institutional players. It's coming from the crypto native and the retail users. If you go to DeFi Llama, that is confirmed. That is confirmed. We had more TVL in 22. I would throw out this glimmer of hope. ETH was $4,800 at this point. If you teleported ETH value to $4,800, probably is higher than this. That would be my guess, at least. So a lot of this is going to be from ETH not being $4,800. Now, they're saying tokenization is struggling to deliver. While the sector's seen some traction, 25 billion in tokenized assets, 8 billion in tokenized bonds, and growing adoption of money market funds, most initiatives are still small, illiquid, or experimental. Even BlackRock's Biddle and Broadridge's distributed ledger repo platform offer efficiency gains, but they lack scale. Many traditional investors are still skeptical, especially given blockchain's transparency. This is what I've been saying for a long time. It is a drawback for institutions that favor opaque trading venues like dark pools. So something to just think about. The tokenization space isn't really taking off like a lot of people are expecting. I'm not saying it's dead in the water, but maybe get a little bit, calm down some of those expectations of Plume's gonna do everything. Maybe that won't come to fruition, folks. I'm not bearish on it, saying you got to calm down a little bit. But if you hold Ondo, I do got some good news for you. The Ondo news, Floki and Ondo are now available to trade on Robinhood. And I hear Floki, I think of what was our little tech guy?
Jack.
Jack was a nice guy. I was a little rude to Jack. He had some risque anime on one time, and I just roasted him, and I could tell I hurt his feelings about that. I called it hentai, and he got real mad at me. So Jack, I'm issuing a public apology, a formal apology. I apologize, Jack. But Floki, he was early on Floki.
Yeah, really, or like the beginning.
May bought a house on it.
Yeah, maybe.
So shout out to Jack. Yeah, good guy. He was a good guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a nice person. I think
he was. He's not.
Yeah.
No, the money has changed.
He still exists.
He's changed after Floki. No, I haven't talked to him forever. I'm sure he's a good guy though.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is our show for today. TJ, anything you want to add?
Yeah, we do want to hit a couple of these questions.
Oh yeah, the Q&A.
Let's see. Somebody was asking for an AVAX price prediction. If you want to pull that chart up real quick.
$100.
You've already got it. $100, huh? Yeah, pull that up.
I went to 125.
And I'll hit this one. If while you're pulling that up, if 4-year cycle is over, what happens with alts? Will they continue to go up? That's kind of similar to this one. If the 4-year cycle is dead, I don't want to round trip my bags. Last cycle, we're all waiting for 100K Bitcoin. Totally reasonable takes there. You absolutely do not want to round trip your bags. And what I would say when it comes to if this 4-year cycle is dead, which I'm putting out there right now that I believe it is, but we're going to have to continue to monitor as more data comes in. So realistically, the top should be October, September, October, November. You could say like top in October for Bitcoin, November for alts, or shift the whole thing 1 month if you want to. But to me, I'm watching more of the debt cycle, the money printing cycle, and in the past, there's multiple cycles that are going on. There's the 4-year Bitcoin cycle, there's election cycles, there's debt cycle, there's long-term debt cycles, short-term debt cycles. There's
liquidity cycle.
There's a cycle of how long you have a reserve currency, and that's a 100-year cycle, we're 108 years roughly. And they're all kind of overlapping, right? And so in the past, the 4-year cycle has lined up a lot with the debt cycle. They printed a ton of money in 2008. That's what started Bitcoin to begin with. They printed a ton of money again in 2020. That's what sent crypto largely on an insane tear. They're printing a ton of money again right now, and will continue to print a ton of money again next year. So I'm going to continue to monitor and see what happens with the altcoins. Most likely we'll be rolling them back into Bitcoin. Like I said earlier in the show, I'm probably a never sell Bitcoin again type person. There's enough lending and borrowing products out there now where if you need liquidity for some reason, you can take a loan against your Bitcoin and then pay it back. I would also say to do that with extreme caution. Make sure you know what you're doing when you do that. Do not lose your Bitcoin to a lending shark, which I'm not going to put Aave in that category. They're not a lending shark. It's actually very
Oh,
non-predatory.
they'll break your legs, man, if you don't pay.
No, it's very non-predatory loans compared to what's existed in the past. I just saying, you need to manage that risk carefully, because what you don't want is to have a generational trade, or something that's going to set your family up for the rest of time. Then you go take a loan on it and then lose it because you can't repay your loan. So if you're taking a loan, use it to buy assets, not liabilities. So, but anyway, do you have that?
We got a couple more, and I have an answer, just a real quick answer. If I do think 4-year cycle is dead, and I'm increasingly, kind of coming along with that notion, this is my exit strategy. Continue to watch the global M2 money supply.
Yep.
It is pretty well correlated with Bitcoin's price. It is offset by 90 days. And so if I see a huge decline in liquidity, I'm going to take that as a sign of, maybe potentially taking profits there. We also had someone say, show Josh's post here. I am Mondo Man.
Yeah.
So with the Giga Chad chin.
Yeah.
How do I feel about Swell? So Joey Swell makes content at gyms where people are like doing selfies and being rude. Or Swell the token. Oh, I'm thinking Joey Swell. Okay,
yeah.
never
And
mind.
apparently he's retired from the internet. I don't know if that's stuck, but he got bodied over the Hulk Hogan stuff.
What happened with that?
He was very pro Hulk Hogan, and then he tries to please everybody, and he just triggered, and he was basically like, I'm done with the internet. I don't know if that's stuck, but like 2 weeks ago, he was over it.
He'll be back. He'll take some creatine and be like, I got to make some content. Swell. Looking at Swell right here, it is a very, very low market cap. So we're talking about a very, very high risk play here. $26 million market cap. Swell Network. You can go to their X account here. Swell restaking, proof of restake, built on the super chain. It's just in a very, very competitive market. Super chain, going to be part of the L2 talks when you're talking about ETH here. And it's just another DeFi protocol, essentially, and non-custodial ETH liquid staking protocol. So yeah, we're looking at, basically a DeFi play here. High risk, high reward. I think I maybe actually have some from I think the basement talked about it at some point potentially here.
Probably.
I mean, I do see slightly higher highs or
What's
higher
the
lows.
Market cap? What's the
26 million?
Yeah. See, a lot of these are going to be down bad right now, and they're going to recover really. Like, look at that, just straight up line right there at the end. Straight down line, straight up line.
Yeah. It's just,
when you're in these micro caps, at least what I do is I'm mostly taking a flyer for when things get stupid silly, and when you're just waiting for those times when everything's vertical, which that's true alt season, and it will happen probably. And that's when you're looking to take profit on those. A couple other comments here. My strategy is to continue to watch Discover Crypto. Great strategy. We'll keep you updated. And I will say I'm going to be most likely making some significant crypto purchases in October. And so that will be when I really have to have conviction behind my thesis. And that's when I'll tell you exactly what I do. Either I'm going to pile in October, which should be the end, or I'm not. And I will definitely let you guys know what I do.
He has the Alex Becker jawline in that last big. That's human growth hormone. All right, let's talk about this $5 super chat. Sweet Renderondo link Ada near Pengu Aether. Is this too many coin? I wouldn't say it's too many coin if you're plugged in and able to watch your investments. But Render, I would say, God, you don't have Solana, but you have Render. I'd be trading on my Render for Solana. I know it's a beta play. It might have higher upside, might have higher downside, just because that's going to be a weird ecosystem to be pumping in the long term. Get you some Bitcoin. Where's the Bitcoin? I want some Bitcoin in there. But I wouldn't say it's too many coins once you are actually paying attention to your portfolio.
There you go.
8. Try 38.
Yeah, that's
in one wallet.
That's the hardest thing. There's always so many coins. Yeah, exactly. There's always another coin that you want to hold that sounds great, and the perfect number of coins is really dependent on so many different factors.
You're that
going
flip
for.
switch meme of the guy like sweating and he's like looking like buy, sell. Like, what do you sell? That's the question there.
I try to consolidate most of my larger holdings to I'd say 10, but it's probably closer to 10 to 15 coins. And then taking shots, there's really no limit on amount of coins you can take a shot on.
Crypto versus love you guys switch from banter to DC and never felt more confident. We love people, coming over. And I'm not here to throw shots, but we heavily research. We do deep dives. We're doing a lot of stuff, just for you. We just give a lot of this alpha away on the live stream. there's 4 uploads I could have made from the live stream, but I just want to give you the most amount of alpha. I'm not trying to sandbag something for 7 p.m. Let's just get everybody in a good position to retire early, be financially stable, maybe get out of that apartment or get out of that mom's basement or get that car that you want or get that, even if you want a Rolex, I'm okay with that purchase because we're all just trying to lift up and we're all going to lift up together. No crab bucket mentality. The crab bucket mentality is when a crab is trying to escape the bucket, what do the other crabs do? They start pulling them down. And so I'm not here to bring anyone down. I am here to lift. And even the barbarians know what we're talking about. They're always lifting because the barbarians are lifting the dumbbells there. How about H-bar? H-bar is going to have those Dino coin pumps, is going to continue to have the Dino coin pumps. H-bar probably, though, is going to be one of those ones that continuously bleed against Ethereum. Bleed against Bitcoin there. But it's starting to look pretty good. I do think the strongest coins, the recent pump, if you have a higher pump than the Trump pump, you're probably very well positioned. But most coins do look like this, so I'm not bearish. They do pass this test where they had the higher high in the second half of 21 versus the first half of 21. So that means as Bitcoin started to rise, the insiders weren't just dumping their tokens for more Bitcoin. So this is, I wouldn't sleep on the H-bar community. The community, maybe it's the H barbarians, maybe it's the name. It's just sticky, that branding there. Don't sleep on the H-bar community.
Solid project, good in the RWA sector, good in the politics sector. But that's all we have time for today, guys. Really enjoyed hanging out with you here. Smash the likes on your way out. Leave us a comment of the type of content you want to see in the future or coins you want us to look into.
Added to Robinhood.
Yep. And we'll see you guys in the Discord if you're not already. We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.